look like Jared can see me. I am
Oh, yep,
here.
I got you now. Yep, I can see you now. Yep.
Jared's present, and we are live. I imagine. Excellent. Thank you. And would like to open the agenda up to declare that we have a quorum present. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I had some new business I'd like to deal with.
Right? So you want to bring it up during new business?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I would like to take a point of privilege in adding to the agenda a point of order on behalf of the chair. Pursuant to our last public meeting, I elicited a comment directed impromptu at a member that was somewhat out of decorum. And so I wanted to apologize publicly because it was done in public to said member and the members of the board. I wanted to acknowledge that it was out of order, and I will be more discreet in my point of order when requesting decorum of this public forum when there is a discrepancy with our meeting. And I wanted everyone to know that that is directed to specifically Member Butler, and to all of you to know that discretion will be practiced in a more resolute manner going forward. So I wanted to issue that in public.
Thank you.
Now, with that being said, back to the agenda. I am seeking a motion to approve the minutes for open meeting July 3rd, 2020. So moved by Member Weissman. Is there a second?
Mr. Chair.
It has been properly seconded by Member Jackson Stanley. Thank you very much.
Stanley's fine too.
Yes, ma'am. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. It is unanimous. The minutes are approved. Thank you very much, folks, for that and your patience. We are now at item number 4, State Administrative Report. Jared?
Great, thank you. I forgot to mention one thing in my state administrative report here. It was on the poll worker recruitment day. And one of the things that I did on poll worker recruitment day and that was on August 12th. I went to I wanted to kick off the 2026 election recruitment policy in a grandiose fashion. So I want to thank the Chesapeake Bay Sox for allowing me to make the announcements, for calling for recruiting election judges, and had the ability to throw out the first pitch of the game, and met with a lot of fans to kind of bring out and make them all election judges at one point there. But I'll make sure that it gets reflected in the minutes in the report. But I forgot to put it in there. So, but that was one of the big things here. I'm gonna just kind of hit some of the highlights because as you have the written reports here, we've begun a lot of partnerships, most notably with the Department of Service and Civic Innovations. This is the Maryland Core Service Year Option Program that the governor had started. We're happy to participate now in it. We tried last year, but with the election and everything, it was just kind of too much. Now we had a little bit of time. We were able to do it. And we have an intern now in the Candidacy and Campaign Finance Division, and they're going to be working on various projects there. So it's going to be great having, an intern there for this. It's been, it will be fantastic. And hopefully it will spur a love for elections and campaign finance in the future for this individual. Uh, Additionally, I've been looking at some of the laws recently here, and I was noticing about the education article, and that the school boards have to have a Constitution Day program that includes opportunities for eligible students to register to vote. This time around, I've sent letters around to all 24 boards of elections, and we've received back some responses. We haven't received back all the responses from all the counties here, but we're now getting an idea of what they're doing for Constitution Day and how they're trying to implement the voter registration initiatives that are there, that are required under the law. We want to engage more in the future with the schools, not just for voter registration, but then for election judge recruitment possibilities as well. So and in the packet there, we have the responses that we have received so far for you. But this is something that I'm going to kind of pursue. This was kind of the first, foray into this area here to see what is currently going on, knowing that we can't make any real changes because September 17th is right around the corner. But something for September 17th in 2026 is something where we're kind of shooting for and moving forward and trying to really engage student participation in voter registration and in electoral processes as well. I'm happy to, of course, note that we've had a nice working partnership with Maryland's flagship university, the University of Maryland College Park. We have a couple of partnership programs already there. These things have been successful. And they did a presentation at the biennial conference about voter attitudes towards the different methods of voting and including how elections should be administered in the future. And recently, they're helping us analyze some data that we collected on what motivates election judges. We wanted to see, as we have to develop an ad campaign for election judges to see, what the current class, why did they become an election judge, and so that we can help craft the correct messaging to recruit more along the way. So those are some of the big ones there. One of the people that are a part of the UMD program is Allison McLaughlin. You may remember her. She was a former Montgomery County election official and is now the new director of the election resilience lab. So it's really great to have her back, and she understands a lot of Maryland issues, of course, and it's great. So I believe that will be a great long-term partnership that we are developing there. Finally, on some of the other interesting outreach programs here, is I'm closely working with the Senate President's Office, and we're going to try to create an election administration display on the second floor of this Miller Senate building, right outside of Triple E, but as another senator likes to note, it should be Quad E for elections. And we're just going to try to put up some historical artifacts about how elections have been administered in Maryland over the years. I think it will be a great educational exhibit. And just kind of, it's a nice way to kick off the 2026 year for the 250th anniversary of of America. So it'll be fantastic to have it there. And Maryland, being an original colony and voting is just so, why we came into existence. So I think that it's just a great little thing that we were going to try to accomplish for a nice little administration there. We are now partnering with the EAC about their election support technology evaluation program. They're developing some standard guidelines for online ballot delivery pilots. And as you know, we had over 143,000 Marylanders receive their mail-in ballots via web delivery in the last presidential election. So we have a significant stake in it. And, we're, of course, always wanted to help the EAC when we can. and highlight any of our processes because I think that, we're the gold standard for a lot of the stuff here, but always willing to learn and to, make it even better, the processes. So, we're going to be working with the EAC on that. Uh, and I just want to make note about something because we've been having a lot of questions about voter registration and list maintenance in the recent times here. Last year, one of the things that, when I came in as the state administrator was that, we and my deputy as well, we kind of looked at it and we saw that we were missing, some checks and balances and making sure that the locals are engaging in these processes. That's why we authorized the creation of the audit division inside the State Board of Elections. And we're still currently building it out. Like this was, when you first build a division here, it's always small, and then you keep on expanding it. This one here, it manages the monthly audits of the voter registration databases. Any alleged double voting that occurs, it produces reports to send over to the state prosecutor's office, and so it's very important division here to ensure transparency, compliance, and the verification process that all is going on correctly. We're always looking to add more audits, especially as we have budget approved for more staff. One of the things too that I want to talk about is municipal elections, and in the local government article. 4-108.5 requires municipalities to submit their election results to SBE within 30 days of the conclusion of their elections. We reach out to those municipalities as well as the local boards of elections to help us get those results within those 30 days. We have a few that have had elections in 2025 that have not issued their election results to us. We have put them in the list here for you. As you can see, we have Brentwood, Easton, New Carrollton, Oakland, Chevy Chase View, just to name a few here on there. And, we wish that this will hopefully spur them to be in compliance with this law so that we can post their election results on our website for everyone to see easily. Next up is the Candidacy and Campaign Finance Division. Everything is moving along smoothly there. We have about 95 new committees that were established. 160 candidates have filed so far. We've been collecting filing fees. All the filing fees go into the Fair Campaign Finance Fund. Alan and his team have been doing some community outreach, especially this, highlighting Maryland's campaign finance processes, auditing, and our reporting processes. It's been great. One of the things was participating in a Virginia panel, which I also was a part of, and just showcasing Maryland's excellent disclosure laws. On public financing, because we have a lot of new counties that are coming in and new candidates that want to know that. The team there have been hosting lunch and learn virtual trainings there. They've been quite successful, and making sure that people understand what public financing is, how you have to get started, the compliance issues. It's a little bit more complex and a little bit more detailed oriented than a traditional campaign finance account. So it's been great having that, and really been, making sure that the programs can succeed. To Member Weissman here, our replacement updates here. Everything on the MD Chris replacement schedule is, proceeding accordingly. And we have also been sending out, emails to all the stakeholders as well, to make sure that they're aware that we are transitioning into a new system. And, if they have any questions, to start contacting us. we'll be sending those things out monthly just in case they forget about that first email. So it's not going to be a one and done. As it gets closer and closer, we'll probably increase the frequency of those notices to individuals about the new system here, and then start with trainings and making sure that they're available so that they can learn everything about the new system. And I'm looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming, but hopefully it's going to be very smooth and great. We have more stats on public financing there. And we've been doing quite well in the fact that we don't have to add any additional funds into the Fair Campaign Finance Fund. For enforcement actions, there has been in fiscal year 2025, we had collected over $735,000 in late fees and civil penalties, which has been great. We've basically for the civil penalties in the month of July here, was a total amount was collected was over $16,000. The big chunks of those were also the failure to file timely those 48-hour reports, and those are for independent expenditure entities that have to file those. Those are not necessarily for filings for registered political committees in the state of Maryland. So those independent expenditure entities, if they fail to file timely, then they have severe penalties here. And with us, and making sure that we as we go into the 2026 election, you can't just think that you're going to have independent expenditures in the state of Maryland without any sort of consequences, making sure just without ever disclosing your donors. So it's important. So I think, we have a vigilant enforcement division there. In election management and compliance, everything has been going quite well on that there, with inventory and our central warehouse preparations for the 2026 elections here. Information systems and technology, again, everything has been moving smoothly. Nothing really of major issues on those areas there. In information security, we of course are always updating and reviewing our processes to improve our incident response processes during this time period here, as again we gear up for the 2026 election here. In mail-in voting, the biggest item there is, of course, that the SBE is going to start notifying voters who did not vote their mail-in ballot in both the 2022 and 2024 general elections, that they're no longer on the permanent mail-in ballot list. That means, they're in the 2026 election, we will not automatically mail them a mail-in ballot. They can reapply for the status or vote the other methods that they wish. Their voter registration or eligibility to vote was not affected in any manner. So that's, it's just that they did not vote, and this is according to the law. In personnel matters, there was 2 local boards of elections that have the election director position that was vacant. Charles County, there was some interviewed candidates, but no selection was made, so we're going to repost that election director's position. And in Baltimore City, we have a new election director, Clifford Tatum, and he is slated to start on September 17th, Constitution Day. Works out perfectly. He had worked previously in the Election Assistance Commission and in Harris County, Texas, as the election director. I was a part of the selection process, but I did not make the ultimate selection. I interviewed with him. He is going to be a great addition to Baltimore City. I look forward to working with him and, making Baltimore City again, something to strive for and be one of the best election boards out there. They've been doing a fantastic job here. Cliff knows a lot of the some of the, I would say, immediate challenges, which is getting the warehouse in place. So, but it's been fantastic, and I just want to also thank Abigail Goldman. She has been doing a fantastic job as the acting election director while Armstead was sick for a while, and really pulled off a fantastic election in 2024. It would not have been as smooth or as good that general election without Abigail's leadership. So again, I just wanted to thank her and her leadership in that, and happy that she is still staying on board as the deputy. So some procurements here that are out there. We are the text to cure and some usability services. Those are, of course, what we have. So again, they're just out there for your edification here. This is just the normal processes of going on for the 2026 election process. Voter registration, audits and operations there. Again, just processing ERIC reports and all the other reports to keep up our list maintenance. And outside of that here, I'm just going to, I did no other duties that were exercised. No delegated duties were exercised, and the rest is in the written report. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
And,
Thank you, Jared. Vice Chair Shep.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Jared, in addition to the accolades you've announced, complimenting other workers, I just want to say, in my experience with state, local, county, and federal positions that I've had, I just want to commend you and Katie Berry, your deputy, and your staff for the dedication and hard work that I see you do every day. You do an excellent job. And I just want to make it clear, maybe I can ask you, you take our list management very, very serious. And I know and I carry this over from my days with Montgomery County. There are those out there that think we either don't care or we're sloppy or negligent in our list management. So let me ask you, recently, didn't we purge about 15,000 voters off our registration list?
Well, I would never want to use the word purge because
Withdrawn.
we
I
don't,
withdraw.
purge on that list there.
Yeah.
Other states have used that term. That is not a correct term.
Okay.
But basically, right. I mean, we have the death records. We have, we get records from the courts to make sure that if it's a felon and they're currently incarcerated, that, we make sure that they are no longer active registered voters. That's the part of the list maintenance here. And it's a daily operation. And we get reports from ERIC from people that move out of state and in-state moves. So we make sure that those records are as up to date as possible. And, we get daily uploads from MVA, the Motor Vehicles Administration. So yeah, with our, automatic voter registration, laws. So yeah, it is a daily operation that we take very seriously because, that's the basis for how to conduct elections is the voter registration list.
Does the 15,000 number ring a bell?
Oh,
My
I mean,
recollection.
those are transactions, right? Like people move in and out constantly. So yeah, I mean, we have tens of thousands of transactions, and we post that information on our website as well. On what we've done and everything.
We have about 4.3 almost million voters, correct?
That is correct. We're
Okay.
growing every day.
And also, didn't you said earlier, didn't you appoint, you have a new committee or unit that deals specifically with list management?
So yes, that is the audit division. So that was been in place for about a year now, and it's been quite successful in making sure that the local boards are are doing the list maintenance on a daily basis, and that they're meeting all their deadlines, and they have, and it's been great. And this is kind of one of these things that, it's an unsung hero portion of it. And that people don't think that we're doing, election administration is just 2 days worth of work, but it is a daily operation, and this is kind of, well, we're making sure that, there's checks on the work that is being done.
It's my recollection that removing a voter from the voter list is it's not an easy thing to do. For example, if you don't vote, if you never vote, that's not a reason to take you off the list. That's your right not to vote. You have to miss two elections, and then there's a process that we start to see if you're where you are, you're validly registered. So would you say it's difficult to remove a voter, which is good?
I was going to say, right. I mean, so some of that stuff is with the federal law, with NVRA, right? That there's federal law processes there. At the end here, what you're talking about is a constitutional right, the right, to have suffrage here. So, right. So, removing an eligible person would be disenfranchising that person. So we have to be 100% correct, not 99, not 98, we have to be 100% correct before that type of removal would occur off of our list. And, because at the end there, what you are doing is disenfranchising a person with a constitutional right. It's not like, a privilege or anything. So this is it's a very serious obligation that we undertake here, and with federal law, right? They want to make sure that you have ample opportunities before you lose or be disenfranchised, in the state.
Well, thank you, Jared and Katie and your whole staff, because I see you doing everything you can to maintain our lists, which is a very difficult task. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, Vice Chair. Member Butler.
Jared, were you going to discuss the DOJ letter about these lists?
Sure. As I've been keeping the board abreast here, we have had recent requests from the Department of Justice. We have responded back to them on the occasions. They have now requested the voter registration list, not just the public voter registration list, but with all fields, which includes personally identifiable information, sensitive information that is not publicly disclosable. Maryland law requires that lists be used for related to electoral processes in the state of Maryland. At this point here, I have inquired as to what their purpose with Maryland's list would be, and how it would relate to electoral process in our state. We have sent questions back to the Department of Justice before we would release the list to them, because we want to, make sure that the rights and, that is protected. In the last letter I've sent to the Department of Justice, if they had any sort of specific cases, we would, happy to work with them. But handing over a list of 4.3 million people, to find something seems to be an overreach. And, it casts aspersions on all Maryland voters, and tries to kind of sow doubt or, some sort of fear that the lists are inaccurate. And that's just not the case. So, but, again, happy to kind of work with the Department of Justice if they give us a list of names. I know that the state prosecutor would, be happy to kind of, they're the ones that enforce election laws, and we work very closely with them. And so, yes, we've met all their recent deadline of August 25th for a response. And we have not received a letter in response or an answer to our questions.
And this is the list that any central committee or candidate can buy, correct?
No, this is not. Their last letter was outside of that. They wanted all the fields that include, like I said, PII.
But the first letter was the original list, right?
The first letter was just that they wanted access to the voter registration list. We had given them the application for the voter registration list, which then any central committee could have. They filled out the application. I then wanted to inquire as to what was the how it was related to electoral purpose or electoral process in the state of Maryland. And then they've responded back by saying, we demand the voter registration list and all fields in it, including PII information, by August 25th. At that point there, I then said, if you had any sort of enforcement actions or anything that relates to voter irregularities, please give me specific names. Again, happy would work on those individual cases with them, and then reiterated my questions, how this would relate to electoral process in the state of Maryland. And we've been responding under the Public Information Act, under that law.
Okay, so I read the initial letter, then I read the response, and then I read their response back, and I read your response back. And frankly, I'm disappointed in our original response to the Justice Department. The response was incomplete, it was unprofessional, and it was actually quite rude. And I think the Justice Department agreed by the tone of their second letter. And I think that's where they jumped when you told them this, and then they jumped up and wanted even more. I think fighting the Justice Department instead of working with them was not the way that we need to be behaving. We've had problems with this list maintenance, and I tend to disagree with Jim. We've had problems with the list maintenance. We failed some of the audit concerning some of these issues. And when I read our response to that, our response was a bunch of excuses as to why we didn't get it done. We know we've had this problem. And then, like I said, we've had the complaints about it. So I'd like to see solutions instead of excuses. And here we are back with the DOJ, and I think we did the exact same thing. I think we need to fix our problems instead of making excuses. And I don't think our response was professional. I'm absolutely shocked at our response. I was not happy with that letter. It was not, the tone was terrible. And it wasn't professional. It was just literally telling them to just, that we weren't going to bother to respond to them or help them in any way, shape, or form. And this is not an issue that we haven't had problems with before. So I'm unhappy with it. And I just want that on the record that I'm unhappy with our response. And then I think that's why we got the second response back in the tone that we did. I think if we hadn't started out in that tone, we probably would have been better off and way more professional. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Butler, for your opinion. Member Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just a couple quick things about this one, Mr. Damaris. And first off, I appreciate what you said. SBE has a long history of working with law enforcement on investigation, whether at the federal or state level. And I appreciate you saying that if DOJ has specific cases that they wish to work with us or the state prosecutor with, we are ready to engage. I think that's important that we continue to have a strong partnership with law enforcement. At the same time, I appreciate your leadership in pushing back and asking DOJ for the reasoning. I think we as a state, as well as federal law, has laws in place to restrict voter list maintenance and where the voter list can be provided, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I run a commercial business, I cannot obtain the voter registration list. If the DOJ is requesting the initial list, you provided them the form and asked for the electoral purpose. This is far outside the scope of what DOJ has requested in the past, and this is a new era for the DOJ, it seems. And while we can discuss the approach, pushing back and protecting Marylanders' personal information, the last four digits of Social Security, their date of birth, their home address, without any sort of rational explanation that we've been given here, I feel, not speaking as attorney, we have those, is a violation of our state legal responsibilities and our federal responsibilities. And so I understand it's a careful balance. I understand, and Ms. Butler and I have had a great conversation about how, we approach the DOJ and recognize that they are here, and how we, can disagree without being disagreeable. But I think at the core, protecting Marylanders' voter information and protecting the integrity and ensuring that Maryland voters can feel that their information is secure. Again, if the DOJ is coming to the state with the appropriate legal avenue to request the information, I'm sure that's a different situation. But right now, that's not where we're in. And so right now, I feel like we're on the right track now, and I look forward to the DOJ providing the legal justification for this information. On a slightly separate question, and I'll just ask my question now, and that way I don't have to talk later. How was your first pitch?
Humidity got a little sticky. I tried to do a swerve, a slider thing. I was very for my Met fans there. It was very much like a John Franco pitch. It was in the dirt. So
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No problem. Thank you very much, Mr. Weissman, Member Weissman, for your commentary. And now, Member Jackson Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Member Weissman took a lot of the information that I wanted to not ask, but present in my statement. But I think the word that I want to use is that we are the stewards of trust for the voters here in the state of Maryland. Member Butler, I too read all of the letters, and I personally was offended by the tone that Department of Justice came at us. I personally read it and thought, I almost called our chair and said, is this an attack on Maryland? But I held back. But I took it that, Jared, I thought your letter was pointed. I won't say aggressive, but I would say pointed, and to the point that there's a way to handle anything. If you want information, you come with a direct question. And I felt that the Department of Justice letter was searching for something. And I didn't really appreciate the fact that they pushed back saying, give us what we want and we want more. If we're the stewards of the information that voters entrust on that application when they fill it out, saying that we are voters and this is who I am, to just willy-nilly give it away because someone asked for it, I don't think it's really giving us the support to support our voters. I don't like aggressive. I'm more of a kumbaya type person. So I'm going to work through any kind of aggressive action with kindness. And I didn't get kindness in any of that interaction. And I personally was offended that the Department of Justice was aggressive to us when we said there's a way to do anything. Let's do it a certain way. So I kept my statements to myself, but I didn't think we were even going to bring this up because it was so incomplete at this point. But I guess my final statement is where I began. We are the stewards of the information entrusted to us by the voters of the state of Maryland, and to just move along and give it away without some kind of barriers or resources to entrust that trust that they give us is not being fair to us. I don't think they were being fair, but that's just my 2 cents. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Member Jackson Stanley. I truly appreciate. Member Butler.
So originally they asked for the list, the one that they could get, and that's not what we sent them. We sent them back the directions on how to get that list. And then when they sent that in, then we denied them the list again. And then that's when they asked for all the rest of the stuff, correct?
So, to answer, I didn't deny them the list. The first request was to get the list. We gave them the process to get the list, right? They filled out the form for the process like everyone else. At that point there, I wanted to make sure, because we had talked with the Office of the Attorney General, There are federal privacy laws that are being implicated, as well as Maryland law. So again, protecting the 4.3 million voters' information, and making sure that this list that I'm in compliance with Maryland law. I sent out a letter of inquiry then to the Department of Justice, basically inquiring about how they're going to use this list and if it was related to electoral process. Uh, because this is a fundamental right in the state of Maryland. It is in our Declaration of Rights, the right to suffrage, and that voter registration is necessary in order to, I guess, to use or to exercise that right. So that's when I sent out the letter. They had responded back with then the demand letter for not only the voter registration list, but with all the fields. I just want to say this too, is that Maryland is not unique in this situation here. Other states are also getting the same demand letter, and almost every state has received some sort of letter or inquiry from the Department of Justice when I was, out. So, and talking to my, counterparts across the nation.
Mhm. And this kind of rolls back into that lawsuit that we had that we lost, and that I talked about putting the verbiage back in. So we'll discuss that next week with Jake and myself and you and Katie about getting the verbiage back in of what is considered a use of that list, the way we talked about it before. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Member Butler, for your comments. Now we're moving on to your point to the that you just raised, Member Butler, the Assistant Attorney General's report, which leads in what I believe. But thank you very much, State Administrator Demarais, for your report and your responses to the questions submitted to you. The Sullivan et al., the Summers. Okay, so it is your bill.
So our Assistant Attorney General is having a nice vacation. He has submitted the written report. I don't believe that there has been any changes from in any of the since then, since his last report, but it is there for you to review, and he will be back for the next meeting. So, at this point here, we'll just rely on the written report for it and not answer any specific questions for that.
All right, thank you very much. All of the members have access to the AG's report. AAG's. Okay, with that being said, if you do have questions, please go forward and with that being said, for the agenda, we are I think, Jerry, you're going to go over the legislative.
Yes, so these are I'm proposing 5 departmental bills for us to proceed with the governor's office. I'm very happy about these bills here, and I think that they will be beneficial to Maryland, not just in the immediate future, but also in the long run. The first one is early voting bus stops. Now, one of the things is that we always want to make voting accessible to voters. And when we make the local boards select early voting centers, we always look to see if public transportation is near or around those facilities. So this bill would basically propose that if there is a fixed route already funded by the counties or Baltimore City that is a half a mile within an early voting site, that during early voting hours, that they would just divert that bus to that site. So instead of dropping off a person within a half a mile and making them walk, and that could be an inconvenience to a lot of people that take public transportation, that during early voting times, that they would be able to stop in front of the door of that facility, and then pick up as well. Within the half a mile, it should not have major impact on the timing of their other bus routes, and the costs would be minimal because we're using existing bus routes. We're not trying to create a new bus route, make counties implement bus systems or anything. It's just using existing services already there and just adding a stop during early voting hours. And that only would occur, in 2026 for those 8 days in June and in October. The next one is something that I wanted to, as you may be reading in the news a lot about, is the turnover rate of election officials. One of the things the Bipartisan Policy Center basically just put out a report recently that they found that the turnover rate for election officials rose from 28% in 2004 to 39% in 2022. And in 2024, they saw the highest turnover rate of, I think, 41% in the nation, that election officials that were administering the presidential elections were brand new or different from years in the past. This is something that even in Maryland, like you can see, we have an election director position that is open right now, and then we have to go back and try to a new recruitment on that. So as I was thinking about this, one of the things is that I want to start creating a career pathway that high school students and community college students don't necessarily ever think about, which is to election administration. And when looking at the election law there, I mean, sorry, I keep on saying election law. When I looked at the education article, they have a law talking about school maintenance there. And so I want to mirror this type of deal, which is to help create a pathway for high school and for college students into election administration. And this would not only be something that would be, I would say, good for Maryland, but it'd be also something that where Maryland can lead for the nation, because we would be the only one to ever try to implement such a program at such a low level, in high school and in college. And this would create, I believe, a pathway to fill all these vacancies and, create just basically, a great feeder system into election administration so that we never have to worry about where we're going to find, I would say, great candidates to fill these positions. So that's kind of one of my things that I'm very excited about trying to get your approval on. The next three are in campaign finance. Again, something that I'm very fond of here. Basically, one is to clarify some of the roles and responsibilities of campaign finance entities, their treasurers, and having agents. Modern campaigns, is one of the things that, since I've been when I was a director of candidacy and campaign finance, was to make and modernize the campaign finance laws to reflect current campaign administration. And, some of the terms like pass through the hands of the treasurer, or, the lack of using, I would say, agents to assist treasurers in compliance and getting checks and making sure everything is there is just not the reality of major campaigns now and the amount of money that goes on here. So, we're going to modernize this and basically make the treasurers, financial stewards of the campaign, and that they oversee it, and that they then have they still have the responsibilities and the liabilities, but they can, get agents to assist them in their processes. And making sure that there's internal controls to catch any improper use of campaign finance funds. So that's kind of one of the ones there. The next one was to align the Fair Campaign Finance Fund, which is the state gubernatorial program, with more of the county programs. Basically, right now, the gubernatorial program makes disbursements in January 1st in the year of the election, which would only give a public financing candidate 6 months with campaign funds. As we know, that campaigns for running for governor are starting now. Well, at least they're thinking about it. And, the ability to fundraise would begin. And so what we want to do is move back that date from January 1st, the year of the election, to align with what all the counties have done, which is July 1st of, basically the year before the election. So this would just make it, in tune with almost every public financing program across the state there. And then the final departmental bill is basically for noncompliance with inaugural committees, which is something that is coming up for 2027. Inaugural committees for the governor have to file campaign finance reports with us, but the maximum penalty for noncompliance was $500. This was because it was just in the law there, and we want to raise it to $1,000, which is in line with every campaign finance entity out there. So those are the 5 bills, the explanation of it. And once we get approval from the board on those 5 bills, we will submit them over to the governors as departmental bills and start that process. But I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm looking forward to these 5.
All right, Member Butler?
A couple quick questions. So the early voting bus stops, you checked with the bus people that deal with this, correct? And they're okay with this?
Yes. I would say that okay is a good word there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the point, but I wanted to make sure that they,
Yes, they are aware of this bill, and something that, and I've also talked to the MACO as well, which is the organization for the counties, so that they're aware as well of that.
okay,
It's something that, and I think that at the end there, it's not long term, it's very short term, and having it within a half a mile doesn't create that much of a diversion.
I just wonder because they have such set routes and whatever. So, okay, all right, so you didn't, okay. All right, and thank you for number 2. I think that's something that I brought up a long time ago that Howard County was doing, and I think that's really great, and thank you for listening, because we do need to bring our people along so that we have competent people to move on. I think it's a great idea. The campaign finance, have we updated the system to help make it easier to use? I know we were working on that. Did that get done?
So we have right now, the new system has been bought. We're still transitioning, and is going to go live this year, November. I was almost hesitant to say that word out loud, so but I know Member Weissman will hold me to that even many a times. But yeah, we're going to be ready and then the first big filing in 26 will be in the new system.
Okay, good. All right, because that is supposed to make it easier for people, because I know they were struggling with it before. Okay, and the other 2 are fine. Good job. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Butler. Member Jackson Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not to belabor the point, but I did want to thank Jared for taking into consideration being from a rural area. Not sometimes, most of the time, transportation can be quite the challenge. So having a deliberate route for early voting for people who may be living in far-reaching areas from the polling place will really make it easier for them to get there and be an incentive for people, because there's always that excuse, well, I don't have transportation, I don't have a ride, but making sure that they're aware that transportation is available to them will hopefully be an encouragement for people to do that. So I wanted to say kudos to you for that as well. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Member Jackson Stanley. I appreciate the discussion from the membership. Is there a motion to approve the proposals? Yeah, Member Weissman? So moved. All right, is there a second? It's been properly seconded. Thank you by the Vice Chair, Shallot. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. It is unanimous consent. Thank you very much, Administrator Demanis, for your proposals. Now on to Alan, to go over our Title 13, Title 14, and I believe one other agenda item in his division.
I can start with Title 14. Good afternoon, board members. I have relatively small list of Title 13. Again, this is PACs, parties, candidate committees, IE committees, super PACs. They're seeking relief for their late fees. I have 3 approvals and 3 denials, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Alan, just a quick question.
Member, Vice Chair Shelley.
Alan, just in terms of reviewing these, can you tell us who reviews them on your staff, or is it just you, or what's our process in reviewing these?
Sure, that's a good question. So it's me and my the head of my audit team, and my deputy. We go through them, and then Jared gives them a fine scrubbing after we finish our review, and then we present it to you.
Is there any dialogue allowed? Let's say you're going to deny an application. Does the entity have a chance to come in or rebut or dialogue with you as to why they shouldn't be fined? Is there any intercourse with them or no?
They submit a form where some are very detailed in their response for their reasoning why they're seeking relief. Some are very short, like 1 sentence. We don't really dialogue with the campaign finance entities, but we do. They are able to submit a reconsideration, and they can offer a more thorough explanation the second time around.
Thanks, Al.
Sure.
Any other questions? All right, the chair's open for motion to accept the recommendation. Member Weissman.
So
Has
moved.
moved. Is there a second? It's been properly seconded by Vice Chair Shelley. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. So moved, unanimous consent.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That was Title
13.
13, right? Now on to Title 14.
Yep, Title 14. It's a longer list. We have 5 approvals and 20 denials. And again, these are businesses and nonprofits that either employ a lobbyist in the General Assembly, or they have contracts with the state, or both. So those are the filers that make up Title 14.
What are their violations, Alan?
It's also late fees as well.
Okay.
All right, Member Weissman.
I'd like to make a motion to move.
Is there a
To approve.
second? It has been seconded properly by Member Butler. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. So moved, unanimous consent. Thank you very much, Alan. Title 14. With regards to number 9, confidential voter.
Yes.
Confidential voter. request.
So I have 4 confidential voters to present to the board. Obviously the public doesn't have access to this, but if y'all, it's your decision whether you want to submit for approval or not.
Is there any discussion without mentioning the names? If there is none, is there a motion to approve confidential voter? Member Jackson Stanley. So move. Is there a second? It's been properly seconded by Member Weissman. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. It has been approved with unanimous consent. Board, thank you very much, Alan.
Thank
And
you.
now, thank you. Now we're moving on to our discussion on final regulations. They have been presented for public comment, and they are back to us to move forward and follow the regs. Now, I don't know if we can talk about this, Melissa, if we want to do this in batches or if we want to break that out.
You
Let
took the
give
words
us-
out of my mouth. What works best for you guys?
I think for expeditiousness, to expedite the process, it would be great if we could take it in batches. But I also know that some of the members may have follow-up questions concerning a particular piece of the reg or particular reg. But if not, I see that there is a way forward for batching these.
Yeah, so we have the policies. Alan's is letter H kind of at the end, so I don't have that one. I have the policy ones, and maybe I could just give a little bit of a it's been since March, so I could refresh your memory just in a sentence or two about each reg. And if you have a question, I'd be happy to give some more details.
That would be cool. I think that would.
And a lot of them are just bringing our law into compliance with some of the laws that were passed in 2024. So I think I provided to you the public posting, and the first one's 3307-1101. And that is, again, to reflect House Bill 700. So basically, we're changing the definition of returning election judge to match up with the law. The next one is 110105. And that is, let's see, there was a requirement actually in 2021 that we draft this regulation to provide notice to overseas voters for special elections. And that's exactly what this does, and then provides for them the opportunity to get a mail-in ballot the same ways that they would for a normal election. Let's see, the next one's 0306. So it's 3311-0306. And this codifies in regulations a practice that the local boards do right now. If there's a mail-in ballot returned and there's actually no ballot in the envelope, the election director will reach out to the voter to essentially cure the way that we would cure if there was no oath in the envelope. 3312-0407. Again, codifies a current practice that came up in the last election. So just wanted to clarify it in regs. If a party requests or a candidate requests a recount and they realize that the outcome is not going to change, oftentimes they will stop because it will save them some money. And in that case, there was no clear direction what we do with the election result. And this clarifies that because we have not done a full recount, that the election results remain exactly as they were as if the recount hadn't happened. 3317-08, and all of the things that come after it is really the brunt of the document that you have here. And the legislation in 2024 required that public buildings be made available for early voting, and that the state board create an appeals process and right to be heard for any public building that's designated, and it might be a burden to them to be used as an early voting center. And so this, just in the nick of time, gets that out there as our local boards are going about and selecting their early voting centers. And that goes all the way from 01 to 10. And again, if you have particular questions, I think we discussed some of them in detail in March, but happy to answer them again. 3310-01, the last two, 3310-0130 and 3305-0104 requires, and again, this is a current practice of the state board and local boards, requires a security check, a background check for anyone that's accessing our voting system or voter registration system, but it codifies that in the regulations. So if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them. We did not get any public comments on them. They were reviewed by Mayo, all the things. So happy to answer anything you guys might have.
Any questions? Discussion? All right. With that being said, thank you very much, Melissa. I'd like to take this as a batch from 33.05.01.04, 33.07.11.01, 33.10.01.30, 33.11.01.5, 33.11.36, 33.12.0407, and 33.1708.1 to move to approve the final. Member Weiss.
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been properly seconded by Member Butler. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Approved unanimously. Thank you very much, Melissa. Those regulations are approved as presented. Thank you. Now H, Allen, code mark 33.13.06.04, campaign finance chair responsibilities to fill.
So this was a minor amendment to the reg. We're just updating the language from make to approved. And I don't know if Jared wants to elaborate any on this particular reg.
Sure. This was basically one of those laws where it's just like because again, it was just talking about whether or not, you know, making is like the person actually has to do it rather than approving it and, you know, allowing the treasurer or an agent to kind of make that disbursement on behalf of the political committee, as long as the the chair and the responsible officer is aware of it and be able to put it in the report. That's the key to the thing to the process here, and it aligns with the change in the law too, which was changing it from make to approve as well. So in the law, but it's just a part of the whole modernization of some of the campaign finance laws.
Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you, Jared. Any questions, discussions around 33.3.6.4 campaign finance chair responsibilities? Hearing none, chair is open for a motion. Member Weissman.
So move.
Moving to approve. Is there a second? Probably seconded by Member Jackson Stanley. All those in favor of the final reg being moved for approval, please indicate by raising your hand. So moved, unanimous consent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My first reg. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Looking for many more from you, all right? Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's about to get hot and heavy. All right, so old business. All right, and I believe Member Butler, new business you wanted to bring up?
It was brought to my attention that we have in our bylaws, we don't have, and I've talked with Jake about this today, I think. Our bylaws, we don't have the minority party for the quorum. So I'd like to list it in there. I think Jared, you and I talked about this today also, right? So I'd like to find a way to write that in there so that we can't have a meeting unless at least one member of the minority party is available. And somehow in reading it, it's just not in there. And I know at the county level, we always had the verbiage in there, but at the state level, I don't see it. So I'd like to work with us to get that put in.
Sure, I can draft up some language and then submit it for the September board meeting. I think the September board meeting is the 25th, but I can circulate it beforehand as well on that. And we can get it something.
Excellent. Thank you very much,
for
Jared.
the September 25th board meeting.
Thank you. Member Weissman.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and all for it. Just a reminder, I believe under our bylaws, we have to circulate it at the September meeting and then vote on it in the October meeting. Is that correct, Mr. Chair?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
If there's nothing further, Member Butler, I greatly appreciate it. Is there more?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. All right, now moving on to item number 13, selection of chair and vice chair, state board. Member Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate Michael Summers to serve as chair of the board. And I'd like to nominate Jim Shalleck to serve as vice chair of the board.
All right, there's two recommendations, and Member Jackson Stanley.
Mr. Chair, I call for the closing of that nomination.
So moved. Is there a, oh, sorry, yes, is there a vote?
Mr. Chair, I think properly we need a second of the nomination first.
Oh, well, I thought she moved. to
Mr.
close
Weissman,
and
thank
then-
you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I second the
Okay, thank you.
nomination. I apologize.
No problem. Is there, it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the nomination presented by Member Weissman for Chair and Vice Chair, please indicate by raising your hand. All right, we have a unanimous consent of the board. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate your
Thank you.
support. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Vice Chair. If you have any words,
No, I just wanted to thank the board for their confidence. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
thank you. All right, moving forward, we have disclosure of campaign contributions. Any to disclose? Member Weissman and then Vice Chair Shutt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Got a couple this month, so bear with me. Citizens for Adrian Jones, Friends of Jared Lippman, Brooks for Annapolis, Chuck Cook for Anne Arundel County, Friends of Sheila Ruth, and Brooke Learman for Maryland. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Member Weissman. Vice Chair Shallot.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to know exactly what we have to disclose. I know, do you want the amount?
No,
person-
absolutely, just who you contributed to. We don't need to
Sorry?
know. Just who you contributed to. We don't need to know amounts or anything else.
Oh, I see. All right, I bought a ticket through the Montgomery County Republican Club for the annual Maryland State Red, White, and Blue dinner. I think it's September 17th. I bought a ticket for that dinner.
Okay. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. Hearing no other declarations. So, excuse me, or disclosures. We're scheduling our next meeting for September 25th. Everyone look at that. I think we should be good there. I hope we're good. September 25th. Now, this 1:30 time was a concession. Does this work or we want to go back to the 2 p.m.?
I don't have a problem with 1:30 at all, sir, but I'll go with the majority.
I like the 1:30.
Vice Chair stepped away. I know.
That works, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
That
All
works.
right. Excellent. Works for me too. So we'll go, Jared, your office, 1:30, fine?
1:30 is
Okay,
fine.
thank you very much.
9:25, 1:30.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. That being said, we are at the point of closing the meeting, but we will have a closed session. So the chair is open for a motion to close our public meeting.
So move.
So moved by Vice Chair. Is there a second? It has been probably seconded by Member Weissman. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. All right, we have our official close and for purpose of in relation to statutory authority to move to closed session. This meeting will be closed under general provision, Article Section 3-305E. To consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation. All right. Thank you all. Now, okay. Is there a motion to move to close? So moved. Is there a second?
Okay.
We're probably second it. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. All right, see you guys over in the closed session. We will get an email if you haven't already.